Hi guys. So I've been experimenting with creating agents for doing different things. And one of the things I wanted to experiment with was running marketing campaigns using agents. So when we're doing marketing, there are a number of things we need to do in terms of campaigns. You need to define a campaign, do some competitor research, and then create ads, get the results, do some A/B testing, and then execute it, and then continue to improve it. And obviously, the ad campaigns is all about maximizing ROIs. So, to me, it sounded like that this is a really good use case for having agents which can each focus on their area, and then this can be quite an optimum way of doing things. So I've been looking into different things. One is obviously OpenAI assistants, which I use quite a lot. But I wanted to try out a different agent framework. One of them is CrewAI. The other one is Autogen. This is from Microsoft, and also quite interesting. And I also saw AutoGPT, but in this for this example, I'm comparing Autogen and CrewAI. One thing I would say is that I don't quite like using different abstractions. I would rather create things myself and create my own library than create abstractions from other libraries, because everybody is just trying to learn what can be done with AI, and these abstraction kind of um, hide the details, and that's what I'm trying to unlock, whether that's something we can use or not. So anyway, with Crew.ai, it allows you very easily to create certain agents, and those agents can independently work on certain things, and then bring results, and then you can pass on these results to each other as well. So if you go on their website, it's generally quite easy. But just to show you, there are a few core concepts. You have agents, you have tasks, tools, processes, crews, collaboration, and so on. You can read it yourself. I will, but basically, it is what it says. Agent is a unit of code that will execute things independently. Task is what an agent is supposed to do, and tools are similar to what we already know with function calling and tools. So that's there, and uh, and yeah, that's basically it. So let me show you what code is there. So essentially, it's quite easy to create a crew app, but I found it a little bit tricky to make it work overall. So basically, to make it work smoothly, because it does a lot of things, and it's not always clear how things are being done. So when you generate a crew app, you will have crew.py, which is basically where we define all of the whole the whole crew, so to speak, with the agents as well as the tasks. So the agents that I create usually is like this. I have this Intel layer agent. I say what the role is, what the goal is, and what is the LLM instance that we wanted to use, and then it just executes it. And then you have certain tasks as well. So these are the tasks that certain agent can do. So here I say there's a strategy task, and it's basically giving these tasks to the specific agent, in this case business layer agent, and then moving on. Now here, one thing you can add is human input, so you can actually give feedback to the agent when it's running, and then it can essentially improve the process. One thing I also did here is that in order to run this without connecting with actual APIs, I simulate ads here. So, and I was trying to experiment how this would be, but essentially I simulate, for example, in this case, A/B testing, ad with messaging this, and so on, and then it runs. Another thing that is important here is if I go to config, you have these YAML files, and in that you basically define all your agents. So here I have a manager agent which defines campaign manager. There is it's basically I define a goal, oversee and coordinate all campaign activities, and there's a backstory as well. I found that quite interesting that you define it like this, and similar to this in the tasks as well. You define what is the strategy, what is the expected outcome, and what is the context, meaning what other inputs it can use or what outputs it can give, mostly input. So this is how it is. So for example, if you go and summarize campaign tasks, you can see there's description, there's expected outcome, and then you have context, which is the inputs it gets from the strategy, from the ads, from the campaign, and so on and so forth. So now, if we run this, I basically just go here and I say campaign. I run the script. You can see here it takes a bit, and now it starts running. So now if you see it, I'm obviously outputting just to test this here as well. I'll just make it a little bit bigger, as you can see here. So look at this. It basically, it outputs this. Then it is saying campaign manager summarize the entire campaign process, and you have now the campaign manager. It's running, and now it's using some placeholders here, and then it's a primary objective of this campaign, so to increase brand awareness, and then it's defining all of this, and then it goes to the result, and then it says here's the overall result. What I didn't like here was that even though we provided the input, it didn't quite get that. Obviously, we'll work on it to see if we can improve it. Now, once it's there, I can provide the feedback on the result of this campaign. So I could say, can you improve it regarding budget for high performing channels and make it more objective, something like this. And now this goes back as an input, and it will reprocess it. So now you can see it updated it, and now you can see what it's saying as well. Next step is to maintain vigilance on the performance. If I go up, just to go from here, it's the whole thing that starts all over again. So it says, okay, based on this feedback, increase website traffic, achieve conversion rate, and so on and so forth. So it basically came back with this, and it's a whole thing. Now I can say all good, so it would go to the next step. Now the campaign strategists start here, and so it's basically saying to the campaign strategist how to do next things. And if I go review here, it can be allocation, total budget amount, social media at 50%, PPC campaigns, and so on. Quite interesting. And I say, for example, all good, and it goes to the next step. But you can see this is a human in the middle approach where we are essentially giving feedback to it. And it's saying the same. This is image suggestions, email marketing. You can imagine that in the next step we can actually link it with Canva API, with Facebook API, and so on, and we can automate it. But say I just keep it next. So we go next. Let's see, competitor analysis. I don't think it is the actual competitor analysis, so we will have to create that in terms of doing search engine searches, integrating with different APIs. But from a simulation perspective, it works quite okay, I think. Strength of competitor, competitor B, and so on. And I say all good here as well. And let's see. And then we can go next, and it's the same. I say great, and then we go next, So these are all the different agents, as you can see here, who are running. And in the end, it created this summary. Actionable recommendations, refine ad copy, improve audience, and etc. etc. So this was CrewAI. The next step here would be to actually implement them, implement instead of the simulation, the actual thing. So what I did next was to actually implement the exact same thing in Autogen. So Autogen is fairly straightforward compared to this. Uh, so what you basically do is you create a config list, which is what we define here, a simple thing, what model I want to use. Then I have the input, same as the CrewAI. Then I have some messages, and then I define agents, similar, but I find it a little bit easier. And then there is an execution of the workflow. So step one, strategy creation, ads, deploy, analyze performance, same as before, and it's here. So now if I run this, let's see how this works. So now here you can see it's campaign duration 1 week, and it says start the campaign with the following details. So in this case, it was much more accurate in taking the input that I gave. Selling proposition, effectively start a campaign. So now it's defining the campaign. And now it's saying, can you, I can actually give feedback here as well. So I can say, for example, I'd like the timeline to be shorter. And let's see. And it says, okay, it instead of the longer timeline of, I think it was 1 week, it initially said, yeah, and now it made it 3 days. Okay, and it's this fine. So now I just press enter, and it's saying, okay, nothing there, and now it's running on its own here, and it gave the overview, campaign summary, and so on. We can run it again, because here, let's say I don't give any feedback, and I don't give any feedback here, and it runs like this. Let's see one more time. If I keep saying all good, what happens? Okay, now I said to go ahead and create ads. It says the ads are here. Okay, go ahead and execute campaign. Okay, so it's more of a human in the middle approach here, but it's essentially creating the ads and doing everything. Campaign execution to correlate. You can see here it's also creating the shell script different from CrewAI, and it's actually doing the execution stuff here. And if I say auto reply and go in, all the content printed out clearly to you, go to the next step, and it says adjust strategies, reportings. It says here, objectives, increase leads, the files are about preparing a report, so on. So I find this more accurate and much easier to work with than CrewAI. So I would say that in my next step, I will actually implement some integrations with the ad APIs and some competitor research stuff, because I think the way this is working is far more um, far easier, I would say, than CrewAI. And in CrewAI, there is a lot more abstraction that probably requires more digging. So that's it. Let me know what you think.